So before we get started, I want to explain a little bit about meringues. We are making a Swiss meringue, but there are essentially three different kinds of meringues. There's a French meringue, an Italian meringue, and a Swiss meringue. And they're all basically give you a good final product. They're similar, but there's a different technique that is used to get to that final product. So a French meringue has a lot of volume, but is very, very unstable, and it's also using uncooked eggs. So if you are making a French meringue, you're going to want to pop that in the oven before you eat it, or maybe incorporate it into a cake or baked on top, lighting up pancakes or something like that. Italian meringue uses boiled sugar to essentially cook the eggs. You would boil that sugar on the stove and then pour it into a French meringue. And then a Swiss meringue cooks on the stove combined the sugar and the egg whites. And that is most commonly used for piping decorations, those little mushrooms that you'd see on a bûche de Noël or something like that. But it also can be used to make the base for a really delicious buttercream to frost your cake. So we're going to start with that right now. All right, so the first thing you want to do is take a saucepan and put a little bit of water in there and bring it to a nice simmer. And that's how we're going to cook our egg whites. We have our bowl of our mixer. We're going to start working with that and put it directly on our KitchenAid. So I've got the bowl. I'm going to put 6 egg whites in there. And I've got 1 1/4 cups of fine granulated sugar. And then this is a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. So we're going to take those 3 elements, put them in our mixer, and put that right over our saucepan. You don't want that water ever to be actually touching the bottom of the bowl. You just want it warming it up. So I've got a nice balloon whisk here, and I'm going to start mixing that all together. And we're going to warm that up right here on the stove, and then it's going to go directly onto our mixer. Now you want this to reach 130 degrees. I have a handy little candy thermometer. Make sure you have a candy thermometer, not a meat thermometer. You want to make sure you have the right thermometer for the work that you're doing. So right here, it's going to tell you exactly where it's going to reach 130 degrees. So you can just go ahead and stick that in there, right in the bowl, and just kind of check periodically as it reaches that goal of 130 degrees. Okay, so we're almost at 130 degrees. I can see that on my thermometer. You want to take it off just before that because obviously that temperature is going to keep rising. Pull out that candy thermometer. So it came right off the burner. I'm going to put that right in our KitchenAid. And we're going to get that whisk attachment, not your paddle, because you really want to whip this up so it's nice and frothy. You want to start relatively low, and then you're going to work up to a higher speed. Okay. All right. So once you see that that meringue is nice and shiny and smooth and has a nice, beautiful volume to it, that means it's ready. You also can feel the bottom of your bowl. Make sure it's not too hot. You can put your finger in there. We're going to add the butter now. But if this is still too hot, that's just going to make a big soupy bowl of meringue buttercream. Now at this point, I have my pound of butter here. And this is cut up and it's at room temperature. So I'm going to put that on. Because this is at room temperature, I feel comfortable keeping that whisk attachment on. If this is a little colder than room temperature, go ahead and put your paddle attachment on your mixer at this point. But we're going to keep it relatively low. And then just bit by bit, I'm going to add that butter. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop that. And you just want to stop it at this point. Make sure you get all that excess meringue from the side so it's all incorporated into the buttercream. Now this is just a base at this point, and you're going to want to add some flavor to it. So I've got here a pinch of salt. I'm going to put that in there. And then we're going to add a couple teaspoons of vanilla to give it a nice vanilla buttercream flavor. And if you want to do this and make it into something else, you can always add a bit of fruit puree. You can add some melted chocolate, not too hot, in there. You get your chocolate. You can dissolve some instant espresso powder in a little bit of water and add that. You'll get a nice mocha with your chocolate. Really, it's up to you. This is your base. You can work with it in whatever way you want. All right, so let's mix in that vanilla and salt And there you go. You have some delicious, silky, buttery, smooth Swiss buttercream.